Today is Saturday, December 23rd. And today we are embracing the holiday spirit and looking back at some of the best, or at least the most popular, good news stories of 2023. We're talking about positive scientific advancements, stories that went viral for the best reasons, and individuals going out of their way to make the world just a little better. So today I'm talking with two people who are dedicated and passionate about bringing that kind of positive news to the forefront. And it's clearly needed because they both have amassed an audience of hundreds of thousands of followers and subscribers. So first, we'll start with Branden Harvey, founder and CEO of the media company Good. It publishes good news stories and guides on how to make a difference. Branden is also the editor-in-chief of their Good Newspaper, a monthly print newspaper filled with positive news, and he also hosts the Sounds Good podcast. He's sharing some of their most popular stories of the year, along with his take on why these positive headlines matter. Welcome to the Newsworthy Special Edition Saturday, when we sit down with a different expert or celebrity every Saturday to talk about something in the news. Don't forget to tune in every Monday through Friday for our regular episodes, where we provide all the day's news in 10 minutes. I'm Erica Mandy. It's now time for today's Special Edition Saturday. Branden Harvey, thank you for joining us here on the Newsworthy once again.
I am so honored to be back. Thank you so much for having me, Erica.
So let's dive right in and talk about some good news stories. Which stories really resonated with your audience this year, 2023? Maybe we start with the top three that you saw, the most popular stories.
The first one was so interesting. The headline is, 2 Stanford students created a device that attaches to glasses and provides real-time subtitles in real life. The company's called Transcribe Glass, and it basically is this like augmented reality glasses, but they look pretty normal. It doesn't look like big goggles. And it's really kind of an exciting thing to imagine for somebody who is deaf or hard of hearing, or maybe just is in a country that they've never been before and wants some real-time translations, and to be able to like look somebody in the face while still understanding their words in that scenario is so exciting. And so I'm not surprised that popped off on our site.
Is this something that is being sold? Is it something that is in the future? Where does it stand?
It's something that is in the future, but they have a working prototype, and it went viral as a result. And I think just a lot of people are imagining, wow, the future can look really, really cool.
Yeah, technology being used for good. I love that. All right, let's go to the second most popular good news story of 2023.
This was one of my personal favorites. There is this quote unquote fish doorbell that went viral that is allowing everyday people around the world to help protect fish. Basically, in the Netherlands, there are a series of dams and locks that fish have to navigate their way through. And basically, fish swim up to these little cameras when they want to get to the next part of the dam. And then people who are watching these live streams online essentially treat it like a fish doorbell, where it goes, okay, the fish have rung the doorbell. And then you, as a volunteer, can say, all right, let the fish through. And you press a button and the fish get let through. And it helps protect them from predators. It helps them migrate to the spot in the river that they want to be at. But it's really cool because like any of us can just be sitting at home and make a little difference for these little fish.
Wait, how do I have access to a button that opens the store?
So all you have to do is go to what is essentially fishdoorbell.com, but don't actually go to that. It's called visdoorbell.nl, and you get to watch the live stream and press the button to help fish get through these dams.
Wow, that's interesting. I can see why that goes viral. That's so unique. What about our third most popular good news story of the year?
Our third most popular good news story of the year is about this San Francisco-based biologist who has helped repopulate a rare butterfly species in his own backyard. Tim Wong, who's a senior biologist, saw that there was this specific butterfly that was rare and, maybe on its way to being endangered, and just started cultivating their host plant, which is this specific California pipevine, in his backyard, and worked very intentionally to transport caterpillars to his backyard and to create this like breeding population. And as a result, this rare butterfly species is flourishing. And I think people love this because I think it reminds all of us that we all have the opportunity to find a way to make a difference in our own niche way, sometimes in our own backyard.
Are there any other stories you want to mention, or even just your personal favorite headline?
There's two other stories that I noticed within kind of our top 10 stories of the year that I thought were really interesting. First is, you might have heard it, this song went viral on TikTok called If I Were a Fish by this artist called Karuk and Olivia Barton.
If I were a fish and you caught me, you'd say, look at that fish, shimmering in the sun. Such a rare one, can't believe that you caught one.
And this duo, basically after having a bad day, wrote this beautiful, delightful, almost kind of jingle-esque song. It celebrates the ideas of like self-acceptance, positive mental health, and it just delighted me that it went viral and brought a lot of joy to people's lives because it shared those themes. And then they got offered a book deal. They toured the country getting to play the song to these audiences who were singing along. It had this like beautiful staying power throughout the year. And it was so fun to see this positive song being celebrated. And the last story that I thought was so interesting too was this story that we wrote about this parent who went viral on TikTok for creating a life-saving invention. This woman, Felicia Jackson, had this moment in this experience where she was in an emergency situation with her son and she froze. She didn't know what to do. And she wanted to make sure that no parent was ever put in that situation again. So she created this thing called a CPR wrap, which is basically this little package that you could open up and you can put over somebody who needs CPR. And it's basically outlining their face, their neck, and their chest. And it has step-by-step instructions on the person's body that tells you, first, do this, second, do this, third, do this, with all those reminders with the exact placement of where your hands should go. It's just really cool to see this everyday person who decided to create a solution based off of her own experiences, and it's going viral for all the best reasons. People are excited about it. People are celebrating it, and people are buying it. And who knows how many lives it could save as a result.
And I love that it's going viral for, as you said, the right reasons. Too often we see things that go viral because they're tragic, because they're hard to watch. It's like a bad accident that you can't turn away from. But this is going viral and actually making a difference for the better. I love that. Why do you think good news like these stories is so important for someone to have as part of their, quote unquote, news diet?
There's a lot of heavy things that happen in the world. A lot of injustice, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. And when you're paying attention to the news, it can feel like that is all that's happening. But the reality is there's this quote that I love from Mr. Rogers where he said, when I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping. And the reality is there are always people who are helping. There are always people working to create solutions to those problems. I think that it really, really helps when the story can continue with, not just the end of the bad news story, but also being like, okay, now who's making a difference for this? Who's working towards this? And that's what we try to do at Good, Good, Good.
Final thoughts about good news in 2023 or anything else related to our conversation?
My favorite thing about this year was that any time that there was some sort of bad news story, whether it was the fires in Maui or a natural disaster in Tennessee, there were always stories of people who showed up to help and make a difference. And even from across the planet, we saw traffic on our website from people saying, I don't live anywhere near Maui, but I want to make a difference. How can I make a difference from where I'm at? And I fully expect that trend to continue. And it always just makes me feel hopeful that there are so many people who care about getting involved and making a difference when they see a need in front of them.
If you'd like to read more about the stories Branden mentioned in our interview today, we've linked to them on our website, so just check out today's episode notes on thenewsworthy.com. And be sure to get your dose of good news from Branden and his team at goodgoodgood.co. But we aren't done yet today. Next up, Sean Devlin is the founder and general manager of Nice News, which has a morning digest of good news you might not see anywhere else. He's sharing a recap of the stories that most resonated with his audience this year, so more positivity is coming your way. But first, a quick break for our sponsors. I had heard about AG1 on other podcasts before, so I was intrigued. But when they sent me some to try, I realized how beneficial it is. It's now part of my morning routine. 1 scoop mixed with water, that's it. And I've really noticed it helps me feel energized. I also love that I don't need to take a million different pills each day. Just one daily scoop of AG1 covers my day's nutritional bases and supports my long-term gut health with 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food-sourced ingredients. I like to add ice and a splash of lemon juice to mine, and it's nice tasting. It's really easy to drink. I actually love that it makes hydrating first thing in the morning so much easier. AG1 was created in 2010 and has helped millions of mornings begin on a healthier foundation ever since. If you are looking for a simpler, effective investment for your health, try AG1 and get 5 free AG1 travel packs and a free 1-year supply of vitamin D with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/newsworthy. That's drinkag1.com/newsworthy. Check it out. This episode is also brought to you by Lumi. Did you know Lumi is on the top of the most wished for list on Amazon for personal care products? If you haven't heard already, Lumi is a game-changing whole-body deodorant that is clinically proven to block odor all day long, all thanks to its one-of-a-kind pH-optimized formula. They've got over 275,000 5-star reviews, and I would give them 5 stars as well. My old deodorant had stopped working for me, so I was thrilled and honestly pleasantly surprised when Lumi was so effective. In fact, Lumi is clinically proven to control odor better than a shower with soap alone. 12 hours after a shower, the average person has an odor level of 6 out of 10. With Lumi, the average odor level is a 0 out of 10. Lumi Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes that I really like as well, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off a Lumi Starter Pack with code NEWSWORTHY at LumiPodcast.com. That's LUME podcast.com. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit LumiPodcast.com and use the code NEWSWORTHY. Okay, now to my conversation with the founder of Nice News, Sean Devlin. Sean, thank you so much for joining us here on the Newsworthy.
Thank you for having me, Erica. Excited to be here.
Let's give people an idea of what some of those good news stories are. So if you can share maybe a few of the most popular stories of 2023 for your audience.
One that I thought would be interesting to your listeners is centered on exercise. So it was a study that was done that proved that 1-minute bursts of exercise 3 times a day was linked to a longer life. And I think what was surprising about the study is the reduction in all-cause mortality is a 38 to 40% reduction. And this was a large sample. It was 25,000 people with a mean age of 62, and they used kind of wearable fitness tracking devices to get the data. And I think what's really cool about it is that it could be kind of implemented in everyday life, where maybe it's you kind of taking the groceries out of your car, bringing it into the house, or taking the trash out.
Yeah, it feels very doable and gives people hope that they too can have the health benefits of some of these exercise instead of going to the gym for 2 hours. Awesome. Okay, give us another most popular good news story of 2023.
A really impactful one focused on the environment was a global treaty that was signed at the United Nations to protect 30% of the world's oceans by 2030. It's called the High Seas Treaty, and it's said to be the biggest conservation agreement in the history of the world. And ultimately, the goal of it is to halt or reverse kind of the current extinction crisis that we see in the oceans.
Love it. And tell us another most popular and then maybe one of your favorite headlines of the year.
Another popular one that we did recently that's kind of heartwarming, it was focused on this TikTok star who was spreading kindness by cleaning houses for free. Her name's Brogan Ingram. Her handle is @NotTheWorstCleaner, and she has over 5 million followers. And she really focuses on cleaning for those that have health issues, maybe mental health issues or physical health issues. And I think what kind of really drew our audience to this story is this realization that kind of the clutter and mess around us can affect our brains in ways that we don't really realize. And having a clean house, and you can kind of see the before and after, can create more clarity and control in your life. I think it's cool to see kind of the ripple effects that just cleaning someone's house can have.
And people appreciating that she's doing all this work for the people that need it and doing it for free. It's kind of that selfless act. I love that. What's one of your favorite headlines? What stood out to you this year?
A UCLA scientist designed a device called a SIMP node, which is basically a teeny implantable device the size of a pencil eraser that's proven to kill cancer. So it's only been studied in mice thus far, but it's kind of teed up for human trials. And in the mice, it reduced the tumor size 80% of the time and prevented it from spreading 100% of the time. So it was a really interesting study. That was probably our top performing article. Personally, I'm a dog person, so one of my favorite articles was centered on dogs, and animal content can tend to do well too, a little bit more lighthearted. I think a lot of people are aware of dogs, obviously a cute sense of smell. There was a study that proved that they can smell stress, and I think people have probably heard that dogs can detect cancer. That was another previous study through breath, which is really fascinating. Changes in blood sugar levels, but I think kind of their ability to smell stress can be applicable to people that might be kind of suffering with PTSD or just really need that support from a dog. And obviously stress can cause so many other things in our lives. So that was a really a fun article to cover as well, really impactful.
Yes, I think for the first one that you mentioned, it's always nice when even if it's not proven yet, it gives us hope. It gives us hope that the technology is moving in a direction that can really make a difference. And yes, we all love dogs, and it's incredible what they can do and how they can help people. There's obviously a lot of tragic news out there. What's your take on the impact of positive news? And do you think people seek it out as much as they do negative news, which tends to feel like it's everywhere?
In some of our initial market research, we noticed that kind of unprompted, the number one thing that people would say they want in news that they're not getting already is more positivity. So people do want it. It's just kind of how it's presented to them. We're not trying to provide an alternative. Obviously, it's really important for major news platforms to be covering stories that can be seen maybe as negative or overwhelming. We're looking to provide and ultimately uncover stories that are often overshadowed by those headlines. And a lot of our audience says that they love that what they read on Nice News, they don't read anywhere else. So we've come to see that there are people that are seeking out this type of content, and that ultimately it's making them feel better and more optimistic about the world.
Final thoughts on good news or anything from 2023?
I have maybe one more study that I'll share with everyone, with your listeners. It was the Harvard Happiness Study. It was a study that showed that the number one key to happiness is maintaining close relationships with loved ones. This study, actually, it's interesting. It's been going on since 1938. There were 724 initial participants and now 1,300 of their descendants. And it showed that close relationships are tied to better physical health, better mental health, more longevity, a better predictor even than genes. And I think it's just a good reminder about what matters most. I think a lot of us get kind of distracted by by focusing on maybe making more money or fame or other things that just don't matter. I think it's important to realize that what's the most important for so many reasons are close relationships around us.
To get a daily email with only positive news from Nice News, head to nicenews.com. Links to all of the stories we talked about today are available on our website if you'd like to read more about them. Thank you again to both of our guests today, and thank you for making the newsworthy part of your routine throughout 2023. Our team is so grateful for your continued support. We will be off on Monday for the Christmas holiday, but we'll be back on Tuesday with our next 10-minute news roundup. So thank you so much for listening. Have a great weekend, Merry Christmas, and Happy Holidays.